because we normally do that. We're already in session, so, here we go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everyone to our board meeting today. We do not have any public presentations for this particular August board meeting. Public comments, if you have any public comments, please email them to our district clerk, Susan Temple, here at Delaware Academy. We're going to go right into routine matters. I'd like to approve the minutes of the annual reorganization meeting and the regular Board of Education on July 13th. Motion, please.
So moved.
And a second. Second. All in favor? Or no, sorry, any comments or questions? All in favor? Any opposed? And the motion is carried. Right, personnel recommendations. We're going to have the resignation and resignation of William Bartlett. We will miss him very much. We appreciate all the years of service that he has given Delaware Academy. And the retirement of Connie Beal, which will be effective on February 16th of 2021. You can start. Motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Haight. And second?
Second.
Thank you, Lucy. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
And any opposed? And the motion is carried. We're going to just pull out Mr. Sean Newman. And motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Seth. And second?
Second.
Thank you, Kim. Any questions or comments?
I will be abstaining from
This. So it's correction on appointment. Okay. So this is new, no need. Okay. What am I doing? Oh, question on all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion is carried. All right, now we are going to do miscellaneous appointments of certified, uncertified, non-instructional subs, bus drivers, all of our, thank gosh we have substitutes who want to work for us this year. Motion please, we're gonna go from Sue Ackerley through Joseph Greenfield. A motion please? So moved. Thank you, Tammy, and a second?
Second.
Thank you, Seth. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. We are now going to do the appointment of Lois Haight as a certified retired substitute teacher. Retired DA substitute teacher. A motion please? Second? Second. Thank you. And any questions or comments?
Yeah, I'll say.
Thank you. Mr. Hayes is going to abstain. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion is carried. We are now going to do an appointment from Cheyenne Hoffman through Doreen McGrath. Might want to get through her. Oh, is the light going? Oh, sorry about that. Thank you. Through Diane Crick. So Cheyenne Hoffman through Diane Crick. A motion, please? So moved. Thank you, Tammy. And a second? Second. Thank you, Kim. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion is carried. We're going to pull out Anastasia Letty. Motion please.
So moved.
Thank you, and second? Second. Thank you, Tammy. Any questions or comments?
I will abstain.
Mr. Letty is abstaining. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion is carried. Thank you very much, Mrs. Newman. We're going to start with Wilson Lee and move through Doreen McGrath and the extracurricular appointments. A motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Kim. And a second? Second. Thank you, Tammy. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion is carried. We're going to isolate Erin Haight. A motion, please. So moved. Thank you, Tammy. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kim. Questions or comments?
I'll say.
Mr. Haight is abstaining. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion is carried. We will now go through Brittany Tucker, class of 2022 on the agenda, through Dawn Wood, changes civil service status. Motion please. Thank you, Tammy, a second.
Second.
Thank you, Seth. Any questions or comments?
I have to ask, for all these club appointments or advisors, then if the activity doesn't end up taking place, I question about the athletic appointments too. How's that gonna be?
So we'll enter conversations with the union on that because these are all contained within the DAPA contract. And so we've had preliminary conversations on if these do not run at all or if they run in some sort of abbreviated fashion, because a lot of this has to be determined. I'll be mentioning my superintendent report that we do have an update on the status of athletics as of today. So that may or may not be a game changer. But regardless, I would advise the board to move forward with these appointments and then we'll revisit that should circumstances require us to do so.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And the motion's carried. Thank you very much, everyone. We do not have any financial reports.
Madam President, I
Yes.
just have one
Oh,
additional personnel. I'd like to make a motion to extend the position of responsibilities for Carrie Schultz in his role as Deputy Superintendent for Business for the months of September and October of 2020 at the rate of $360 per day, paid in addition to his existing base salary. That's the motion.
Lisa, and I need a second, please. Second. Thank you, Tammy. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for everything you've done for us, Mr. Schultz. All right, Ms. Dill, let's see, sorry. Is this here at CSC? Oh, am I in CSC? Oh, okay, yeah. CSC recommendation, a motion please?
So moved.
Thank you, Lucy, and a second? Thanks, Ken. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion is carried. Wow, we got lots of reports, principals reports. Mrs. Mabel.
It's pretty obvious that we're working on the reopening plan. Bring you up to speed a little bit. I have my remote teachers and we've talked to them and they're getting ready. At kindergarten it will be Michaela Pollock. At first grade it will be Jenny Lane. At second grade it will be Alyssa Tarantino. Third grade will be Yvonne Bowker. Fourth grade will be Missy Januszewski. You might have known her as Missy White, she just got married. And fifth grade will be Emily Pitt. Those will be our remote teachers. I also have invited our AIS teachers to be kindergarten and first grade teachers this year, and they are doing that. So I have Lehman and Temming going to teach first grade, and Griswold and Rolfe, I should say their names, Stacy Lehman and Michelle Temming, and Kirsten Griswold and Lori Rolfe will be teaching kindergarten. They are teamed up. This was an idea of theirs, which I think is a really good idea. As you know, those ladies have taught in their specialties for numerous years now. And so they asked that they team up so that they each teach their specialty to 2 classes. So Lehman and Temming will be working together in first grade. Stacy Lehman will teach the ELA for both of the classes, and Michelle Temming will teach the math for both of those classes. And the same thing for kindergarten with Kirsten Griswold and Lori Rolfe. So it should be a really nice working relationship. We're working on rooms, cohorts, still trying to keep families together, working on schedules, class lists, mailings, calling parents, parents calling us, all that stuff. So that's where we're at.
Does anyone have any questions for Mrs. Mabel? Thank you very much for everything you're doing. Sure, thank you very much, Mrs. Mabel. Mrs. Robbins.
Good evening. In the middle school, high school, we'll be bringing back the 7th and the 12th graders full-time. 6th, 8th, and 11th or 8 through 11 will be following the hybrid model or the remote only model. I did a walkthrough today and worked with the counselors to make sure that all of our classrooms could accommodate the numbers of students returning for their specific content areas and their learning labs and the cafeterias. And we think we're set unless anything changes. But right now, we've got the rooms, we've got the spaces, and we know where we're putting teachers. We called and left messages for all of our seniors today to speak to them about some of the specifics in regards to their electives and possibly having early release. So we were doing that all day. I'm working on Mrs. Mabel, welcome back packets for all of our 6th through 12th grade students, specific to their model of instruction that they fall into. I'm also going to be working on, along with Mrs. Mabel, orientations that are specific to their grade level that will be pre-recorded so that parents and guardians and our students can view those and have more information to begin their school year. And then we're also, I'm creating middle school and high school assemblies. We normally would have all the students come in the first couple of days into the auditorium. So I'm going to be doing those differently this year too, so that they can be live streamed into their homerooms. Because this year we also have homerooms for the first time in a while. And we'll be giving all the students more information about their procedures for this year's, school year, their SOPs and all of that based on their grade level. And we're also working to make sure that all of our teachers and support staff have their schedules by hopefully Wednesday, midweek, and we'll be providing a faculty meeting through a Google Meet on Thursday for any additional questions and concerns about their schedules and, procedures regarding the reopening of school. That's it.
That's nice.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So I'm talking about all the kids, I guess, that aren't going back Monday through Friday, but in particular, I have a 6th grader this year, so the days that he's home, do you know yet, maybe it's up to each teacher, but do you know yet if it's actually gonna be remote instruction where he'll have something on the computer? And if so, is there a remote teacher for that? Or will it be more like, you have to read this story for the 2 days you're home because when we come back, we're gonna do all these activities with the story? Do you
That is a great question. 6 through 12, we're giving the teachers a little more freedom in how they provide that instruction. 6th grade, I do know they have a plan where each one of the teachers in the content area will be providing, the Google Meet or the live instruction each day for the time that those students are home.
Okay.
But 6th grade, is going to be different from some of our high school teachers. They're going to have to, all the students will get their schedule, and it's going to be the same, as far as the content areas that they all need to take. It's the how that will be different, and so then the teachers are going to have to give those, either those hybrid day schedules or the remote only students, basically the plan as to what that's going to look like for them when they're home.
Okay, so, but it's not like the remote teacher is responsible for the hybrid kids, right?
Not in our school. In this building, it's a little different because we don't have,
Okay,
we don't
so you won't have another different teacher, okay.
No, it'll be
I
those
just
4
wanna-
content area teachers, and they're gonna be providing the instruction, at different times for the
Okay.
online piece.
Thank you.
6th grade actually is probably the most like the elementary to some degree, because they figured that out. It's hard to do that in the high school because we have, so many content areas and we don't have that specific person that can just do the remote, so.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have
And
one.
thank you for all you're doing too.
It's more for Mrs. Nagel, but it's kind of for both of you.
Okay.
If, in this hybrid model, we've kind of, some people would perceive it as burden to families in the childcare, that's maybe I'm saying more for the younger kids. If there's a cohort that works better for a specific family, say a parent works or doesn't work those days, Thursday, Friday, or something, is there? I know it's a nightmare.
That's what I meant.
what I
know
will
it's
tell
a, I
you
know it's a nightmare.
is, we're trying to work with people, but there are a ton of moving parts that go.
I understood.
So just bear with us, we'll do the best we can,
My
to meet as
question
many
is,
needs as
Are
possible.
parents reaching out to you?
They are,
Yes, yeah.
by the dozen.
Okay.
And we're
Yes.
trying to accommodate. And
I'm
one other
sure.
thing, I think I can announce it, instead of our A and B cohorts, we're gonna have a maroon and a white cohort.
Team maroon and team white.
Yeah,
That's
team
right.
maroon and team white, so we're also trying to
What if someone
have
does
some-
like one of the colors better?
That's right.
That's another problem.
Well, we can't accommodate for everything.
Any other questions for Mr. Robbins? Well, thank you very much, and thank you for everything. You guys are doing. Thank you. All right.
Can I jump in with just one
Sure.
final comment to Seth's question?
That was, I was just
I
trying to.
didn't mean Seth, I meant Sean, I'm looking at Sean, saying Seth,
I'm
because
removing
he's
that
maroon and white over there. From the very beginning stages, you know, we were very sensitive to the burden this is gonna place on some of our families. And which is what motivated us to try to get in as many kids as we could every day, you know, as possible. And for as many questions and for as many requests that Julie's seeing, I'm probably seeing twice as many. And I'm forwarding them on to and I've had many conversations with parents who have called me directly with that same request. And so I've asked our principals to do, you know, as much as we can to accommodate, because we do fully recognize the positions as many families in. You know, and while I would love to bear 100% of the responsibility for that, you know, we need to keep in mind that we've all been placed in this position. And the weight of this responsibility has fallen on everybody's shoulders. And the support that I've been hearing from parents too in terms of community outreach has been tremendous. So just wanted to make that comment.
All right, department reports. Mr. Schultz.
Yes, so I'll cover Mr. Bartlett's.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Along with trying to schedule 770 kids and being with their friends and on Tuesdays and Thursdays and every night. We've also tried to open a building safely and do it in a clean, quick manner. If you notice, this building especially is a lot less cluttered. We've got all the classrooms rebuilt. We're still working on a few, I know, upstairs, but the pods should be all back together. We've got a lot of stuff going, not in those classrooms, but we're going into storage. So you may see a storage trailer in the back here in the middle school entrance, and then we have 4 up in the elementary. We were lucky enough, after we kind of looked at the classrooms, I will say that they were very vanilla. There was no excitement, there were desks and a teacher desk, and that was it. We were able to put some stuff back in those classrooms to make them look a lot like a classroom. Once we kind of figured everything out, got the sizing down of the desks. We are outfitting as many large areas as possible. The gyms, we will have middle school cafeteria, we found out today, they will be eating in there, not serving, but they will eat. So they can come down to the high school cafeteria, grab their lunch, or if they bring their own bag lunch, they will sit in that space. And that way we can facilitate about 40 kids, I think, per lunch period, so you have 2 going at the same time. That way we wouldn't have to start super early or go super late. Along with that, nurses' offices should be set. We've got barriers. We put up a lot of plastic barriers in some of the offices. I know Julie and Robin didn't like theirs. We actually just put them on their desk. We didn't even tell them. We just put them there.
She walked right into it.
Yeah. So we'll make sure that happens, safety wise. Yeah. We have a platform. We actually have 2 platforms now for staff. Self-health checks in the morning. We have one that's Luke is working on one, but I have another one as a backup that will work just as well. And then the student platform should be, I'm hoping to be up and running by the end of the week. I've contacted them a couple times to check the progress. With that, we've taken, PPE equipment continues to increase every day. I'm up to $47,000 today and could have easily spent probably another 20. But our goal right now, I think we're good. The problem is anything that has Clorox on it is basically impossible to get. So we're trying to find a lot of different alternatives. My goal is to have every classroom and every office have enough cleaning supplies on hand so when they start, they have that available. We'll figure out, tomorrow I have a conference call and we'll talk about alternatives and make sure that we have enough supplies going forward into the next couple of months. That's a big issue. Masks, I think we're fine with. Signage will start going up next week once we get all the hallways clean. We'll get all those set. The next step will be where we're gonna do our the temperature checks when students come in that didn't do it in the morning. That's another big piece. We don't want kids being bottlenecked in the morning and being too close. So we'll get that figured out by the end of this week. Bill Barlow left on Thursday, and the guys have been doing, and girls have been doing an amazing job getting the buildings ready. Like I said, our goal is to get the hallways completely clear by this Friday, and that gives not only us a little peace of mind, but maybe gives the building and grounds crew and custodians a little time, a little bit of a breather. We don't feel like pushing them all the way up until 7. And that way it gives teachers and staff time to get in and feel comfortable. I think we're opening that up this 31st, right? Okay. And with that, so we'll continue to plug away with that. Train was in this afternoon. We're looking at all the HVAC units to make sure they're up and running and working well. Other than that, a lot of supplies being ordered on a regular basis. Big news came out Thursday of last week. Division of Budget came out with their report from New York State. I think it's 400 pages.
450.
Something. Yeah, I didn't get past like page 4. This report was their first quarterly report, basically saying that they're going to be about $8.6 million in the hole, 8.4, 8.6. And they are now touting the 20% cuts. We talked about when we built the budget, there was a lot of chatter about 20% cuts to state aid. After a lot of going back and forth with business officials and superintendents, we decided that really, when they finally had the clarification, they were saying it's really only 20% of certain aid payments. So we built a budget based upon that. We had areas, trigger points, where if they started to cut aid, we would stop spending money in certain lines and not affect program. Well, they started doing that. And not only they started doing that, they said that they weren't going to take any from the previous year. We have to book what's called excess cost aid that is actually aid from last year. And they took their 20% off the top already. And the talk is it's going to go 20% all the way. So, do I think that it's going to be 20% foundation aid? I don't. I mean, that is $1.7 million to us. That's devastating to districts. And so, what they're calling this is temporary cuts. They're saying basically you'll get it back somewhere someday.
Yeah, so that was my question, we still book that as expected, right? So
Yes.
it's receivable, it's not, so it's a temporary measure.
Right.
But we're still saying we expect.
Right, exactly, that's 20% off the excess cost, we still book that as a full receivable. Yeah. And we'll do the same thing as we get in, we have, tax revenue will start coming in the next couple, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So we have that, and then we'll have lottery aid. I'll see what they do with lottery aid if they're gonna take, because that'll be the next aid payment we receive, will be that. They started taking it off deferred building aid, which really is bothersome, because that aid was promised to districts 10 years prior, 5 years prior. So it's causing a little anxiety in the business official world, superintendents also. I look at this as, listen, there's a stimulus package that's stalled. I think this is kind of that little shot to say, hey, listen, let's get this going again. Without that, then we're gonna have this cuts. It's gonna continue. I just don't see, like, personally, how we had this conversation, Kelly had this conversation yesterday, how they can do that with 20% of foundation aid completely and keep that going. Districts which is supposed to be where else. There are districts that are literally, as of Thursday, Wednesday, they had a great model and moving forward, and Thursday the conversation switched with not districts really around here, but around the state of, let's just close our doors. Let's just go remote. There's a lot of them that are really starting to kind of look at that because they are fearful of the situation and just continuously hemorrhaging. So keep an eye on it. Like I said, we did build a budget to cover 20% of expected aid payments throughout the year. We have other little areas and trigger points. we're a district that's very fortunate enough to have a very good reserve balance. We have quite a bit of reserve monies that was used for these rainy day situations.
Hurricane.
Yeah, with a tornado. The state has not said they will not allow districts to dip into that mid-year, but they haven't said they can, they haven't said they can't. I know there's a bill that's sitting out there right now that will allow districts to dip into those reserves mid-year if needed. And if they're gonna take 20%, they're gonna have to open that up to all. So I don't see us having to do that, I really don't, but if they continue to do this years after, I think we have to have a whole different conversation.
Do you think we're all set for this year as far as
I think we're
non-major
good.
cuts or anything have to be made?
I don't think so, I don't think we do, right? We had talked about that before, we built the budget, like I said, we had these trigger points of expense lines that going forward, if we had to pull back the reins on certain things, we could, and like I said, it wasn't gonna affect program costs. There may be, it's tough too when you're talking about cuts to staffing and things like that. Our health insurance is very strong here, it's not something that we need to cut into. Special ed is volatile and you really can't stop that in extreme. But as the year progresses, as the weeks progress actually, we'll have to continuously revisit these things just to make sure that we're gonna be okay. I felt, a lot of districts felt even with the 20% cuts to selected aid payments, a lot of districts very early on felt that they could weather the storm the first year. It was the second and third years that I think it would be worse.
Cause that'll help with the stimulus package won't be around in 2 years.
You're right, exactly. And they'll have, it'll be very similar to what happened in 2008, 2009, we had jobs restoration money, but once that left, they just kept taking money and, from the state level. And they're gonna have to, 64 billion, I think, is the projection over the next 4 years. And they're not gonna take it from the medical field at this point.
Any other questions for Carrie? Thank you very much, Mr. Travis. Thank you. Mrs. Miller. Good evening.
We are winding down our summer feeding program. We have Wednesday and then Monday and sending the meals for that entire week. And after that, I've told all my parents that their students will go back to income eligible. All summer they've received their meals for free, regardless of their income. So I've received our free and reduced applications from the state, and they will be going out. I am working on building menus for our students that are here, our hybrid students that will be home, and then our remote students that will be home all the time. We're talking about the hybrid models, either the parents pick them up or they go home on the buses, and then remote's having one pickup once a week. So we're prepping meals like a week in advance and sending home, simple items for those kids who are at home making their own meals. So I've been working closely with SED with any changes, just you never know what's coming next. So I have one of my representatives that she says to call her anytime, so I do. I need to discuss with the health department what our options are when students come through the line. The elementary building will be breakfast in the classroom, lunch in the classroom, so we won't really see any students up there. But down here, what can they touch, what can they, touch vending machines and pick out their own milks and that sort of thing. So that's still an ongoing conversation, so. Other than that, we're just winding down the summer program and that's it. So, any questions from Mrs. Mills?
Can I just add real quick, so that was one of the questions at one of the forums, was what's gonna happen with food service as far as it's free all the way from mid-March
Right.
till now, or until the end of this week.
Right.
We will, so Chris and I sat down today, we will have, I'd like to use Power School and email all parents to let them know that it's gonna go back to that free reduced pay model maybe, I don't know, I didn't talk about it with you guys yet, but just enough people are aware of that coming in the first day. We'll also probably do something very similar to having them sign up. If they are gonna be remote, are they gonna want meals when they go home, or if they're fully remote, what are they, if they don't want that.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure we have all those steps kind of follow through, before, in the next couple of weeks to ensure that no one misses out or gets any false information.
And the backpack program is still gonna be running. I think we have 27. Any other Thank you very much. Mr. Petrilli.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Welcome.
In short, our IEPs and our 504 plans are finally finalized, and we're in the process of disseminating them to parents, outside agencies, BOCES, et cetera. And as the ladies, Robin, Julie, and Kelly mentioned, we're trying to do the best we can. I think today I had 6 or 8 phone calls and emails of parents concerned of their children's schedules, and as it was noted, we're trying to do the best we can with that. Other than that, I have one student that I'm trying to find a home for. We're getting close. We do have another child who is in need of some additional support services, so it's just that last minute type of thing that happens each year. And I will be surprised that next week we get a half a dozen kids that register and have special needs. Business as usual. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Petrilli? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Potter-Ziba.
Well, I think it'll take less time for me to talk. Saying we've been busy, we're setting up rooms, deploying wireless in spots that we didn't have wireless before, upgrading access points, just trying to hit all the areas and make sure things are ready to go for technology and online and in school, and think about all the support we'll need to provide for parents and students and teachers, and just trying to get all our ducks in a row and make sure we're ready to go.
Any questions for Mr. Potter-Ziba?
Luke, for, this is just a sort of a detailed thing, but while you're talking about it, to my mind. If we have several kids in one room and they need to hear through earbuds, we can use, there is Bluetooth capability with our devices, is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Is that something that we're working to enable?
Of course, yeah.
Just because, for obvious reasons, you want to have a million Zooms trying to compete with one another in a room.
Well, they're not doing that in school, it's
No.
classroom.
No,
So
but if you have an 8th grader and a 9th grader, and they're both trying to participate in Zooms in the same room at home.
Right, I mean, they students have used their headphones in hard places plenty
With Bluetooths?
or whatever,
Okay, so that's,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that that's important. Great, thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Potter-Ziba? Mr. Lett?
Yes, sir.
Given the anticipated increase in IT things and devices, are you feeling that you're adequately staffed to accommodate?
At this point, I feel that I am. I think it's a matter of more or less knowing what's on the menu and being able to support those products and those services and be deliberate in our offerings so that we can provide that level of support that everyone expects to happen. Of course, there will be times where something goes down, we may not get everyone's call at that moment. Everyone knows that, they try and call tech support, you're on the phone for 2 hours, but that's never been the case with us. And, that's our goal is to support that, try to make that apparent to teachers in the spring, is that these are the software that we support, we have lists of passwords for things, lists of ways to reset, we always check with parents and following up, so it's just kind of the standard procedure. It's gonna be a little different for us because we'll be supporting not just the online as we were in the spring, but we'll be supporting the online, the hybrid, and the full in class. So we're actually looking at potentially splitting up our department so that someone's always in the elementary building to triage those issues that come up in the classroom for the remote teachers or for the in-class teachers, just so that 5-minute transition, even though it only takes us 5 minutes to get there, and teacher, if we're always like, oh, you got here so take that hurdle away, the teachers feel supported and they're able to just focus on the learning. And that's really our goal, is to provide that base level support so they know that it's there and ready to go. Of course.
So all our students, short of the seniors who graduated, have a Chromebook at home.
Kindergarten, we're getting them soon.
Is that hardware wise, are they in need of updates or any?
In terms of hardware refresh and that side of
Yeah,
things, we do have some devices that are aging out, will go to an unsupported level by Google, they won't get updates, but that would be the end of the school year. And we have an order that I put in May or June for 160 replacements. They were rejected at the port because of trade tariff manufacturer issues. So we won't see those devices until October. But the way I run my budget is I'm buying this year for what I need next year. And and that's how we're able to be where we are with having enough devices for kindergarten left over from last year after even deploying to parents or teachers and things of that nature in the mad rush in March. So that bought us a bit of security, and I can focus on the major upgrades this summer to our storage and servers and wireless and those major pieces that are going to continue us moving forward. If it comes to the point where we realize, okay, the budgets are going down, we still have our smart schools funding, and we can start to tap into that, and that's certainly a goal of mine this year, is to start to develop planning around that. It's something that's been going around in my plans for years, but there hasn't been hey, we have an identified need, and now we need to leverage and go. So that we have a good amount of flexibility if this becomes a long-term or a reimagined educational process with all of this online hybrid and flipped learning. So if the drive says, hey, I really like this model, teaching starts to move that way, then we have the flexibility compared to many schools where they invested in a security project and got a lot of cameras on school grounds, and now they're all remote. So we have that flexibility in terms of that build out. Good question, thank you.
Anyone else, Mr. Harrison? All right, thank you very much. Mr. Bridgeport.
Yes, so last week, met with my staff and filled in, Mr. Schultz, some were there also, and welcome up to speed. I never also did some required training, been doing quite a bit of training lately. Also have a new driver that successfully is at a CDL now, that we've added to our staff. And we're working on routing and stuff for the information we're getting daily as to how, where it's coming and how we're doing it.
Any questions for Mr. Bridgeport? All right, thank you very much. Superintendent Zimmerman. Well, I'm not sure what's left for me. Hey, this is such a great team where I'm just reflecting, I feel like everyone is just, we're all in the same boat, headed in the same direction, and it's just, it's so great to just hear everybody speak of their own respective work. And it's truly reflective of the team. Just a few quick additions. Mr. Ferrara couldn't be here tonight. So we did get information today. Governor Cuomo announced that sports may start on September 21st. We don't have the details of that yet. They're looking at the lower risk sports, prioritizing them for fall and maintaining that regional model that we had talked about and sticking to that. So we're reducing the distance that our students are traveling outside of our region. So it's that regional based model as opposed to section. There's a task force that's working. I'm reading an email from Mr. Ferrara. Task force that is working over the next couple of days to make that final determination. And within 72 hours, we anticipate having a decision made on that. So we'll be meeting with Mr. Ferrara, hopefully next week, after that determination is made, so that we can turnkey all of those, all that information to our students. So that's exciting news. Let's see, I've been working with the team on planning for our opening days. We're planning 3 days of professional development for our teachers. One had been previously scheduled for September 8th. That's the day after Labor Day. Our students will still be starting on the 9th. The 8th is going to remain that full day of staff development, our welcome back, for all of our employees throughout the district. So, of course, I understand that the Board of Education historically has participated in those opening days. I would continue to extend that invitation and to join us in welcoming our teachers. I roughly am anticipating an 8 o'clock start, possibly starting at 7:30 for a half hour of grab-and-go breakfast, registration, those types of things. And then we'll have a full day of welcoming activities. And we are engaging regionally in a live stream that is sponsored by DCMO hosts these for us for all of our training on all things COVID, and that will meet the requirements for that. In addition, we will be reviewing all of our standard operating procedures, our screening tools, all of the nuts and bolts that apply to everybody in terms of the operating procedures as we proceed toward opening. And then in the afternoon, we'll be starting with some very targeted professional development. And Luke earlier kind of mentioned the menu. We've been talking right along about giving teachers latitude and independent decision-making in terms of how they want to deliver instruction within these models and in their classrooms, specifically in that hybrid model. And so I have worked to secure some additional professional development specialists from the instructional supports through DCMO to provide specific training on blended classroom. Some of our teachers attended that in the summer, so we're looking to provide an opportunity for those teachers to take a deeper dive into blended classroom for those who wish to dip into that. We're also going to be providing some training on flipped classrooms within, I believe that one is titled Teaching in a Hybrid Model Using Flipped Classroom. We're also going to be offering sessions on Google platforms, so those are if we need training on Google Meet, Google Classroom, different things within Google platforms, and then specific instruction on the technology in my classroom. So Luke will be sharing some training on how do I use my document camera, how do I use the sound, how do I connect that to my smartboard, how does that interface with all of the platforms that I want to be able to do. So we're looking to provide really a menu of options for our teachers to be able to dip in and choose what fits them best, and so they can kind of personalize and individualize their own training. So that is what we're also going to be offering on the 2nd and the 3rd. Those are not required days of professional development. Those will be optional for our teachers, but participation will give them 6 hours for the required 15 hours of professional development in the school year. There will also be a rotational model with the same instruction being provided on both of those days on those topics that I just described. And for teachers who do choose to participate and get those 6 hours, then that will loosen up some time for them on the 8th. So that will provide some additional flexible time potentially in classrooms and those types of things. Separate from that, this is still on the development phases, but separate from that, we've heard some really great ideas from teachers who've been proposing things like, what if I open my classroom and do a show and tell, so that as a peer, I can show other teachers what I'm doing. I thought that was an amazing idea, so I'm looking to incorporate some of that teacher show and tell time and also try to carve out some times just for teachers to breathe and do what they need to do in their classroom to get ready for opening days. We are also going to move forward, and we'll be communicating this in all of our opening welcome packets that go home, that first week of school, which is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we will be bringing in our Team Maroon on Wednesday, and they will be here for their in-person instruction, and then Team White on Thursday, and then all of our students will be remote on Friday. So when they are here with their teachers on that day, the schedule may even look a little bit different so that teachers have time to interact with every student they're going to see when school starts. So that week in particular will be a little bit different than once we get rolling. And then that will be the time for the teachers to share with their students, this is how instruction is going to look in my classroom. This is what you can expect from me. And that kind of answers your earlier question a little bit, Kim, on, what that will look like from teacher to teacher. So there will be opportunity for that. So as more information comes out, I will certainly get everybody a copy of those agendas and an invitation to join us on that day. We've talked about our opening models, both of our principals hit on that to a great extent. And I also just wanted to provide our community with an update. Our Board of Education held our retreat. As you know, couple weeks ago? August 7th. Thank you, on August 7th. And the board spent a whole day really reflecting on where we want to head as a district, not in COVID, but long-term. And so in doing so, the board worked really hard to develop an updated vision for our district, an updated mission, and updated goals. And I'm just going to walk around and provide a hard copy of that for our board members. So the first thing you'll know is it still says draft on it, because we are still tweaking some of the nuanced language within the goals and perhaps within the mission specifically. The way that this will be communicated out to the community will be, once this is finalized, then this really provides the framework from which I develop my superintendent goals. Our principals will develop goals for the buildings, and then our supervisors, so that all of the goals throughout the district will include greater specificity as they narrow down to our buildings and to our departments. And they will all be aligned from the goals that this board has set forth for our district, which of course are aligned with our mission and our vision. So the vision statement I will read aloud, and then following that, I will be providing a presentation, most likely at our September board meeting, once we've had to work to develop the goals throughout the district. The vision that this board has set is Delaware Academy Central School District at Delhi will be a leader in academic excellence, preparing students to excel in a diverse and dynamic society. I just want to commend the board for their focus and their hard work on that day, I'm really pleased with where we landed. So I don't know if any board members want to comment on that, because that was my last piece of my update.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone want to comment on the 7th retreat?
It was time really well spent. I think it was necessary, and I think we ended up at a really good place with what we have. Refocusing our efforts and our thoughts on why we're here and we're doing what we're doing, and it's all about the students. And that's kind of where, as you read through this, you can see that that's our focus on all of our students.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything? I just want to thank you for facilitating the activity. It was my pleasure. It was a great way for the board to get to know each other and get to know you and really focus on what the school district is for, as Tammy said, it's for the students. So thank you very much for that. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to go into policy review and adoption. First reading of policy for staff and student social media. There will be no action required tonight, but if anyone has any questions about the policy, either we can talk about it now or
I have a comment.
Tammy.
Our policy committee is myself, James, and Kim. And
what I'd like is for us to get a chance to get together before the next meeting so that we can review this in a little bit more depth and bring back any questions or changes that we feel that we need. So all I'll ask right now is that if you guys have certain days or times that are better or not good, just let me know and I'll have Sue usually we'll work to put something together. So, or if you can just think about it and, email Sue. It won't be long.
Okay. Can we just meet up here, or?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe an hour or so, just to. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Tammy.
We do need to approve a resolution to override the existing policy to continue in accordance to COVID-19 guidance for the 2020-2021 school year. A motion, please. So moved. Thank you, Tammy, and a second?
Second.
Thank you, Sean. Any questions or comments?
Yeah,
Yes.
I was wondering, I think it makes sense to add after number one, after or guidance released, I would say propose adding by the New York State Education Department or New York State Department of Health.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's just guidance everywhere on whatever.
Yes.
I think that narrows it down a little bit because that's really what we're following here, right?
Yes,
Those
and
two.
districts have been told that the guidance that comes out of New York State Department of Health trumps that out of New York State Education.
So this gives you either one.
So that makes sense,
Okay.
yes.
So add this to New York State Department of Health.
Do you want both health and?
Yeah, I think it makes
Both.
sense.
Both.
Yes.
Because specific to curriculum, you may only get it from the education
New
department,
York State Department.
specific to that would be. The second one reads a little funny just because it says we're authorizing our superintendent to follow state, federal, county laws, which is, I would hope that we don't need to do. Are these like standard that are coming from, where do they come from?
Yes, this one was shared from Wendy DeWitt as an exemplar of what many districts are using to basically anything that comes out of COVID-19 is to recognize that any updates to federal, state, county laws or regulations, so as the governor puts out additional regulation that supersedes that, it just authorizes the superintendent to execute those in the district.
Okay, I understand that. And what mechanism would we use here if we're going to spontaneously suspend a policy? What would we do that's been adopted by the policy committee or some entity here? Or in the full board? How would we know that? You know what I'm saying? So this says basically we're going to suspend any policy that conflicts with guidance. Is there a mechanism by which we would want to know that? Or could know that?
It does, Bruce, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you want to jump in, it looks like you're about to.
Well, I was gonna comment that this is likely to come up after the fact. The purpose of this resolution is to give your superintendent and your executives the cover and the means necessary to make decisions quickly, so that when, hopefully not inevitable, but probably inevitable, second guessing or questioning occurs after the fact, you've got it at least in place. That would be my take on why we're doing it this way, so.
Yeah, I get it, it would seem like we'd wanna have, and it doesn't have to be written in the resolution to know that, but, you send us Friday. If there's something that we're suspending that we expect is followed as a policy, I don't know what it is at this moment, but that would be good communication to know.
Absolutely, yeah, it would not require board action for me to do that,
I mean-
certainly, but that's something I would absolutely include in my weekly updates. So the one that showed me to my mind
We
is
set
backpacks,
policy,
we
and
talk about
those are the things
backpacks
to
all
do,
the
if
time.
we're saying we're
It's always-
suspending policy, then
It's a
we're really,
serious resolution.
it sure is, I hope
Yeah.
everybody read it, because
Yeah.
it's a big time resolution.
Yes, it is. It's reflective of, unknown, serious, ongoing
I think it's appropriate, it's just, I think there's gotta be a level of dialogue about when we're doing this. That we're comfortable.
Anyone else have any questions?
So were we comfortable with that wording and that,
Sue has changed.
okay, thank you.
Did you want to say something else?
No, I was just gonna give a very simple example of, in our code of conduct, which our policy, references code of conduct, that we have the no backpack policy. But yet here we are in COVID-19 where we're saying, okay, our kids need to carry their backpacks because it's a safety issue if we choose to veer from the lockers. So, that's just an immediate small example.
And I think it's a
of
great
an
example, it's a
application
great
of,
example to know it,
Right,
because those are the things that are gonna be, hey, we've always been told,
yes,
and
yes.
to have that knowledge ahead of time is good.
Right.
That's
You'll
a
hear from the
perfect
community, and you'll hear from your kids.
Okay, so, motion and, second, Seth, you motioned,
You need a second.
I need a second for the amendment that Seth has made a motion for. Thank you, Mr. Leddy. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Hughes. No old business, new business, we need to approve the tax levy. This will be a roll call vote. Motion, please. Kim, thank you. A second? Second. Thank you, Tammy. Any questions or comments? I'm just going to say that we are authorizing the sum of $9,681,130.21. Just so that's on the record out loud. The delinquent tax penalties shall be fixed as follows. September 1st, 2020 through October 2nd, 2020, there will be no penalty. October 3rd, 2020 through October 31st, 2020, there will be a 2% penalty added. November 1st, 2020 through November 10th, 2020, there will be a 3% penalty added. All right, we'll do the roll call. Okay, Beth? Yes. Tammy? Yes. Seth?
Yes.
Lucy?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Kimberly?
Yes.
And James?
Yes.
Thank you, it's carried. We're also, for B, we're going to establish substitute rates for 2020-2021. Motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Kim. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Lucy. Any questions or comments?
I wanna thank Kelly and the team, Carrie, for reacting so quickly to that request
That's great.
for finance.
Yes, thank you very much. Oh yeah, there will be increases for these. This retired certified DA teachers going up to 130, certified substitutes going to 120, uncertified substitute teachers are 100. Long-term teaching is 140 per day, tutor is 23 per hour, non-instructional nurse will be 110 per day. Teaching assistant will be 90 per day, a teacher aide will be 82.60 per day, food service 11.80 per hour, bus aide 11.80 per hour, custodial worker 11.80 per hour, and bus driver is 23. Any more questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? The motion is carried. I'm gonna approve I'd like to approve the transportation contract and award the milk bid in one motion. Motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Seth, and a second. Thank you, Kim. Any questions or comments about the transportation contract or the award of the milk and ice cream bids? Any questions? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion is carried. There's a request to remove books from use from elementary school. A motion, please. So moved. Thank you, Tammy, in a second.
Second.
Thank you, Seth. Any questions or comments about removing books from elementary school?
I have a question.
Sure.
And this request is from you, but from from both of the libraries, we've been removing books. It seems like every meeting, are we replenishing books?
These books were bought years ago, before, and I've been here 9 years, these books were bought before that. They were in a book room that they sat and they were in plastic bags and they don't need this group of books that's being that we're looking at excising right now don't need to be replaced. We have, the two ladies in my office went through all of these books that were in this book room because we're clearing out space so that we can have student desks and things like that. And they saved all the good ones. So we still have a ton that are going to be either added to the library or used for take-home book bags for kids to take home and have reading material at their house, things like that, but we don't need to replace what these are. I can't answer about the library, I'm assuming that she has placed an order, maybe
Well,
Robin
and
knows.
basically, remember, the middle school plan was, or our plan here was to merge the middle school with the high school. And a lot of those books that we've been getting rid of are, they were moldy and old and really in bad shape, so we won't be replacing most of those books either, but this is gonna be the room where we're gonna be merging all of those books, so. And then also, we have some books that have been in this school for 20 to 30 years probably. And a lot of what we're doing right now with some of those books is sending them home. Because we wanna have students also have resources at home. And since we don't need them here right now, we thought that would be a great idea, so.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Mrs. Roberts, thank you, Mrs. Mabel, thank you, Trustee Letty. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion is carried. Next is a donation of ukulele and guitar. Thank you to Laura Whitbeck and Brian Grove for the ukulele. And we also have a Learn to Play book by Ben Parker, and one guitar, Jay Terser, is in good condition with a carrying case, so thank you very much. A motion, please. Thank you, Mr. Letty, and a second? Second. Thank you, Mrs. Shepherd. Any other questions or comments? And of course, you'll be sending thank you. Thank you very much. All in favor? Any opposed? And the motion is carried. Adopt retention and disposition schedule for New York local government records. Motion, please. So moved. Thank you, Kim. And a second? Second. Thank you, Tammy. Any questions or comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion is carried. All right, this is usually when we have the public address the board again in the meeting, but obviously we can't do that at this particular meeting, so please send any questions you have for the Board of Education to our district clerk, and we will address them. Any other discussion, board comments? Who would like to start? Then I will assign. Trustee Letty, would you like to add anything?
Yes, I would like to add that as we have worked to reopen our school, the reopening plan can't be all things to all people, and the administration and faculty worked so hard to make this happen, and I just want them to again be recognized for all their effort and all the hard work that's gone into this. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And I'd like to also, I'd also like to add, Trustee Letty, thank you very, very much for accompanying Superintendent Zimmerman to all the town meetings that you've been doing. I had a comment from one of the town supervisors that the superintendent has never done that before. And that person has been, did you see the paper? I had one of them there, Sean. So that was a mention to another community member, and then it came to me. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do that, both of you.
Yes, no, I appreciate it.
Certainly in this time, but I know you would have done it either way, so thank you very much. I just wanted to recognize you for that. Mr. Tucker, any comments?
No comments.
Okay. Mrs. Kelly.
I would like to just add that along with Mr. Letty, Trustee Letty, that our plan has been, it's not going to be everything to everybody, but it also is not set in stone, and that it will change depending if there's a need, and hopefully everybody bears with us and understands that the administration has tried very hard to accommodate as much as they could.
So thank you. Mrs. Newman?
Just I will reiterate what trustee Letting and Kelly have said and thank everyone for their hard work. It wasn't 8 to 3 every day to get this done. So we do recognize it was a lot of long days and a lot of hard hours, and your efforts are very much appreciated from the top all the way down through the maintenance and custodial staff and counselors and everybody. So we do very much appreciate that and know that you guys have done the best that you could possibly do for the students. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Newman. Mrs. Shepherd? Okay, Mr. Heath?
Yeah, I mean, what I've really appreciated over the last, since school really got out, I think everybody's been talking about how we open up again. And what I've appreciated in seeing what the final product has been is that it's a mixture of a lot of different ideas that have come forward, and it ended up in slightly different places than it started out, but that means the process worked, I think, because it would have been easy early on to say, nope, this is a simple model that, none of it's simple right now, but this is a model that we can get our head around on day one. And, I know as late as last week, you're talking about adding seniors back, which I think is reflective of a continual process of trying to really see what we can do here and get this right. So I really appreciate that. I think that means you're open to ideas, and that was really good to see.
actually listen to
Yeah, took
what people were
feedback,
saying,
yeah.
the kids and the parents, it's great.
So I really appreciate that part. I think that maybe the most challenging part is yet to come, and that's to operationalize it, and that because you're gonna run into a lot of things, but you can only do so much planning, then there's a certain amount of adjusting and going with it on the fly that I think we're probably as prepared as anybody and have a great team to do it. So whatever support we can be along the way, I think use us for that, because there could be implications where we can help. Thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Heath. I'm not gonna repeat myself. Everyone has expressed how much we appreciate this team. This team is unbelievable. Thank you. I also want to commend high school for having our senior class come back. That was like the cherry on, I guess, the sundae, but I really appreciate that for our seniors. I think we're gonna try to give them the best experience we can, so during this time. Before I close the meeting, I will need everyone to come and sign the tax levy, so we can give it to Sue and she can file it. A motion to adjourn, please. Thank you, Mr. Haight, and a second? Second. Thank you, Mrs. Kelly. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion's